Good evening, everybody. I'm Fictional Crystals, and Keith might have to turn on Shiro. Keith is not in a good place at the moment on Voltron. He's gone through much grief in his life, and it has affected him, starting with both his parents leaving him, then one of his closest friends disappearing. He learned to disconnect himself from people by pushing them away before they did the same to him. Learning to get closer to people and moving on from his old family to his newfound family is all a part of his character arc, as is deciding what connections to keep and what to break. When he bonds with someone, it means a lot to him. He holds on to it, for better or for worse. It's good that he cares about his friends deeply, but sometimes he needs to think about his own health. There were 6 paladins and only 5 lions. He believed the weakest member of the team needed to go.
This is war, and you want your best soldiers on the front lines.
Lance wasn't the weakest link. Lance had been a huge help in Season 3. Keith figured that it was himself that needed to go. Keith had the role of leader thrust upon him. He never wanted it and struggled to handle it.
This is how I lead.
Eventually, he began to get the hang of his new place on the team. Then, of course, Shiro returned. We all know this isn't the real Shiro by now, right? I'm not going to repeat myself since I've made 2 videos on why he is quite clearly a clone. But basically, he is a clone. Shiro and Keith clash as leaders. Keith looks up to Shiro, like many do. Shiro is one of the few people who have broken through his walls. Shiro was the one who gave him the leader role. He trusted Keith enough for the job. However, when Keith actually ended up leading, he knock down his confidence. Their styles of leading are too different. Keith can't lead like Shiro, and Shiro can't lead like Keith. Keith felt insecure of his role. He isn't Shiro and shouldn't try to be. He disassociated with the team because he thought they would reject him in favor of Shiro, and he couldn't take that. The Blade of Marmora believe that the mission should be prioritized over the individual. The Blade of Marmora haven't been a massive help for him. They've put him in a worse mindset. Part of his excuse to the team on why he was leaving was that he was investigating Prince LOTOR'S plans. Now LOTOR is coming to Team Voltron for a discussion. He's wanting to join their side. Not for righteous reasons, but nevertheless he is joining them. And this will be a big part of the next season. LOTOR knows the ins and outs of the Golra Empire. He knows more than Hagar and Zarkon think he does. LOTOR is smart. He can manipulate people and read them easily. He managed to figure out that Hagar was controlling Narti to spy on him. He understands how they can take advantage of their enemy's friends. With LOTOR essentially joining the team for now, he's going to reveal a bunch of things for us. Shiro will likely be okay with him coming to them. He's being played by the Golra, making the team fall apart. He's been very off lately. In one of the flashbacks to the test being conducted on him, we can hear the sound of a camera focusing when his pupils change size.
P39 has normal response to optic stimuli.
The Golra let him escape from their captivity easily, especially when compared to the last time he had to escape. He wasn't strapped down, the door was wide open, and they didn't send any ships after him. They wanted him to escape. It was stage 3 of their operation. They're using him to get to the Paladins. They know he's able to go to Team Voltron without them raising any eyebrows. However, LOTOR understands what the Golra do and how they can take over people. He's experienced a friend being used to watch on him. LOTOR will realize there's something different from Shiro and the other Paladins. Except LOTOR won't be able to get the clone Shiro off the team. At least not by himself. The others have grown to trust Shiro as their leader and friend. These 4 wouldn't all turn their backs on him just because of LOTOR. They know how close Shiro is to Keith. They wouldn't feel right getting him to go, especially when they think they know how it'll affect Keith. As I was saying earlier, part of the reason Keith was joining the Blades was to figure out what LOTOR was doing and stop him. He doesn't need to go around the universe to find out what he's doing anymore. He's right there. He saved his life and is there for a discussion. Keith will want to see him. That means returning to Team Voltron even if it was only intended for a short time. Seeing that Keith is wearing a Blade of Marmora uniform with a Blade of Marmora knife/sword will make LOTOR question his heritage. The Blade of Marmora is a group for Golra rebels, making LOTOR realize that Keith is part Golra. LOTOR would be okay with Keith being half Golra at best, like him and his generals. He'll help Keith with some of his issues and try to gain his trust. Eventually, Keith is going to become a paladin again. Having 2 seasons worth of Black Paladin Keith set up wasn't for no reason. It's all part of his arc. He's doubting himself right now, and he's pushed away the team. He'll need to return and close the gap between them to advance with his development. Like I said before, he also needs to learn what connections to keep and what to break. With Clone Shiro there, he doesn't have much room to grow as a leader. He'd be under his control constantly. Shiro's a natural-born leader. It's true that back in the first 2 seasons, before he was a clone, he was good at directing his team, the ideal authority. But from a storytelling perspective, it's boring to have a character who's already so good at leading be the leader. leader, it means they typically aren't able to expand with that role. It's much more interesting for viewers to have a character learn to become a leader, rather than start off as one. Keith's going to return as the Black Paladin. In one of the Season 4 trailers, there was this clip of him using the Black Beard and the Black Lion, which wasn't in Seasons 3 or 4, so it's still going to happen. We see that he'll be in the Black Lion again, but I don't see him wanting to do so fully without a reason. LOTOR will be one of the ones who helps Keith find out that this Shiro might not be the real Shiro. LOTOR doesn't want to be spied on by the Galra. Neither would the Paladins. Any moment, the Galra could take full control of Clone Shiro, kind of like what the alternate reality Altanes were doing. As much as it'll hurt, Keith will have to turn on the Clone Shiro, for the safety of everyone else. The Paladins of old mirror the Season 1/2 Paladin lineup pretty clearly. Black Paladins, Zarkon and Shiro. Red Paladins, Alfor and Keith. Green Paladins, Trigal and Pidge. Blue Paladins, Blates and Lance. And Yellow Paladins, Gurgan and Hunk. There are many similarities between the characters, and I think there are similarities in the stories too. Zarkon and Alfor were best friends for years. Then Zarkon started changing for the worst. Alfor, though his best friend, was also the next in command of Voltron. He saw the problem with what Zarkon was doing and couldn't be a part of it. Of course, some bad things did happen towards the end of this ordeal, but at a point, Alfor did have to turn his back on him. Another parallel to the Season 1 Paladins is with LOTOR and his ex-generals. LOTOR and Shiro are the calm and collected leaders. Most of the time. Keith and Aksha have obvious direct parallels. Same with Azor and Lance. Narty and Pidge had smaller friends that they could use to their advantage. And they could /can hack living beings /robots easily. Zethrid and Hunk are the strong larger members of their groups. Aksha was deadly loyal to Prince LOTOR. She'd follow him and trust him no matter what. Then Azor voiced her issues about him, and Aksha got to see that Azor was right. For the three of them's good, Aksha, as the team's next in charge, had to turn on Prince LOTOR. Both of the ones who mirror Keith, Alfor and Aksha, had to go against their leaders and close friends. Keith will have to speak up against Clone Shiro, as the next in command and his friend.
Shiro! Wait!
But anyway, thanks for watching and #NotMyShiro.
He's gone.